is actually exercise. The exercise stress, which is a positive stress, creates more diversity in your gut. Also, better sleep will do it, and intermittent fasting. Yeah, it adds a positive stress that increases diversity of microbes in your gut versus snacking through the day, which basically creates a lot of lazy microbes. It's very similar to the animals on my farm. If I feed them like snacks all day, they get overweight, they get sluggish, they don't really do much. So, for example, my pigs, I have them on an intermittent fasting schedule. They get one meal a day. My chickens are on an 18 to 6 window, so I feed them twice a day so they can fast for 18 hours. And the same thing with my dogs, but I don't give my dogs a lot of snacks in between, little treats, because that breaks the fast. The next thing that can increase diversity is consuming more phenols. Okay, phenols. What are phenols? Well, it's those phytonutrients like the flavonoids in different plants and lemons and limes and berries, things like that. And also the tannins in different herbs, like even different teas. Coumarin in turmeric is a phenol, but phenols are a wide category of a lot of different types of phenols. And if you're consuming a wide range of vegetables and maybe berries and other plants, you're going to get a lot of phenols, and that's going to stimulate a wide range of different species in your gut. A really good way to increase diversity is to consume sprouts or microgreens that are grown on soil, because sprouts normally aren't grown on soil. But when you start getting into microgreens, not grown on like coconut fiber, I'm talking about actual soil. It's a bit hard to find, but you can grow your own. But those microgreens are loaded with not just friendly microbes in the plant itself, but phytonutrients, including a lot of polyphenols and fiber that your microbes will really love. So when you're eating microgreens, you're really supporting your gut health in a big way. And the cool thing is you don't need a lot of them. You just need a little bit because they're so concentrated with these phytonutrients. The next thing is probiotic foods. Kefir, sauerkraut, essential. They have such a wide range of different microbes. You talk about diversity of microbes in sauerkraut and kimchi and even kefir. I mean, there's just a lot of different microbes. So when you eat those foods that are diversified, you get the benefit of that. I mean, let's just take one microbe, the lactobacillus microbe. Certain lactobacillus microbes help you make dopamine, which can help support and even potentially prevent ADHD, depression, anxiety, and many other similar disorders. And then also raw food, more raw food is better. So if you're going to eat vegetables and you eat them all just completely cooked to death, well, that's not going to support the microbiome as much as eating them raw. I think a balance of steamed and cooked and raw is a good thing. Now, it's very important also to talk about the flip side. What lowers this microbiome diversity? Okay. Number one, broad spectrum antibiotics. It's a killer. Anytime you take an antibiotic and try to take them sparingly, always take a probiotic at the same time or start consuming probiotic foods at the same time. Very important. There are other things that are antibiotics that you probably are not aware of, like glyphosate, which is in the GMO foods, because they spray this glyphosate on the soil, and that actually is classified as an antibiotic. And unfortunately, that chemical is in so many foods. It's in almost everything, which means we need to kind of actively work on building up our gut. Now, animals that are fed on a monoculture, like only one or two or three foods, whether it's grains or even grasses, have less microbes to work with, and they themselves have a lower amount of diversity because the animal gets its diversity from the wide range of plants. And this is why when I entered in my beef in the study that I did, I don't know if you saw the video on it, but I'll put a link down below. I have a very diverse pasture of not just grasses, but weeds. I mean, it's like probably over 40 or 50 different plants that these animals have a chance to eat, and it's their smorgasbord of all sorts of things they can eat. And when I entered in my beef and we compared that to A lot of the other farms around the country, I mean, talk about health. I mean, even the phytonutrients in the beef was like 3 times higher than most other farms. That's right. There are plant-based chemicals in animals. That's right. So now you can get your antioxidants by eating beef, right? You just have to make sure that it's really, really healthy. So another thing that will lower the diversity is stress, artificial sweeteners, inflammation will do it, a fatty liver. In fact, any liver problem, because the liver makes bile, and without the quantities of bile, then we get an imbalance in our microbes. We get this dysbiosis. So bile is actually made by your microbes, but also bile controls the ratios of certain microbes. So we need a healthy liver to have this diversity. Too many sterilized foods, pasteurized food, radiated food, overly processed food, really bad for your gut. Like I said before, also less variety of foods, right? So the next time you go to the grocery stores, just start picking out different vegetable varieties and start to, build out your salad and try new things. Now, another couple points if you're pregnant or going to have a child is breastfeeding, because if you're not breastfeeding, you're not going to be able to inoculate with the microbes as well as the colostrum into that infant. And that can be a problem later in life with their microbiome, the diversity of microbiome. And of course, that also goes with the C-section. Having a natural birth enhances the diversity of your microbes.